WPTV.
Welcome back for another year of Pioneer Sports. It's been a rough start for the Pioneers so far, so let's discuss.
Yep, last week they played against Wesley, and it definitely was a rough start. This is one of their highlights of the game. They were able to force a fumble on Wesley's first possession, so they recover at midfield, so they gave themselves a good chance against a very good team. And just like that, they gave it right back. Sophomore quarterback Mike Yaros will end up throwing a pick six to a Wesley defensive back, pick it off at his own 45, and take it all the way to the house. This will be the first score of the game for Wesley, 7-0. Now, this is one of the first plays coming up on their next drive. And right here just seemed to be a miscommunication on the offensive line. It ended up in almost an intercepted handoff being Wesley ball once again. We're going to take another quick look here at this play. You see the Wesley linebacker, excuse my crudely drawn circles. He's going to look for the Pioneer to go in motion. As soon as he sees him go, he's going to go find a wide open hole. It seems like either the center or the guard weren't communicating, didn't pick up the blitz, and ended up in a turnover. It would be 14-0 after that. And here, just a silly play by sophomore quarterback Mike Yaros. He goes to pitch it a little bit too late. Wesley's on top of it. They would recover the fumble once again, and on that drive, they would eventually score to make it 21-0 5 minutes into the game.
Never in my life before have I seen an intercepted handoff before. That
Yeah,
I have to say that was the first time I've done it. 20 total yards of offense for William Paterson in that game. They gave up 411. They had 405 punting yards, but had 20 total yards of offense. No more words for that.
We'll start things off with how the season has gone so far. Not too great. What has stuck out to you the most? And we'll start with you, Justin.
Well, for me, it has to be the Wesley game. I mean, it was the fourth game of the season. They had a rough start before that. If you just take a look at the numbers real quick, it was probably one of their worst performances of the season. They lost the game 66-0. They didn't have a lot of offense, as Joe was saying before. They just put themselves in a tough position throughout the whole game.
Now, keep in mind, this is the number 22 D3 team in the country. They have a quarterback from 2 years ago that's now on the Green Bay Packers. That's Joe Callahan. So this is a team that produces talent. But when you're putting total yardage on the field of 20 total offensive yardage, that you just can't be doing that.
What have you seen?
So in the loss against Rowan, even though it was a very hard loss to swallow, the defense actually played surprisingly well. They had a season high at 4 sacks a game. Also, they were able to get to the quarterback enough to limit them to under 100 yards passing.
Yeah, we saw it in the Wesley game even. They get off to a hot start, and then the defense immediately gets the life sucked out of them on a pick-six play right after. But at Rowan, like I said, their special teams was brutal too. They've allowed the most return yards on punts to anybody in the NJAC this season.
Speaking on the special teams of that Rowan game, their average start of the field for Rowan was 52 yards. So the length of the field was 52 yards from the entire game. For William Paterson, it was 73 yards. So you had Rowan starting in midfield, and basically Willie P starting at the 25 the whole game. You're putting yourself in a serious hole just from the start.
Looking forward to the future, we'll take a look at the Pioneers' schedule. What do the Pioneers have to look forward to for the rest of the season?
So yeah, taking a look at the schedule, the first 4 games, once again, they suffered some tough losses. Versus RPI, the season opener, they lost 45-0 on the road. After that, they went down to Maryland to play the Salisbury Seagulls. They would lose 63-7 there. The home opener, as we just were talking about before, against the Rowan Profs, they lose that game 14-41. They had their best offensive output with 14 points. And then just this past Saturday, it was against the Wesley Wolverines. They lost 66-0. To me, the thing they should look forward to is tomorrow, and that's a bye week. They really, really need a week off. I think they just need to get themselves settled in. I feel like they got off to a rough start, and they were rumbling and fumbling, and they couldn't pick it up. They just got off to a bad start on the wrong foot, and they just couldn't get their footing right. So I think maybe a day off will do them some justice to come out on the 7th against Kane.
Justin, what do you see?
Now, for me, the game against TCNJ sticks out to me because TCNJ, much like William Paterson, they're off to a slow start and are 0-4. And so they struggle with running the ball. So if William Paterson's able to load the box and also just stop the run game, they can effectively win that game. But TCNJ, on the other side, they're very good at passing the ball. So really, if the pass rush can get there, they actually have a good shot at winning this game.
Joe?
Let's be honest, the Pioneers aren't making it to the playoffs this year, so what they do have to look forward to, I'd say, it has to be the last game of the season against Montclair. That's their Route 46 rivals. Last year, they actually upset them in one of the best games of the season. We couldn't broadcast it because the radio station went down.
Something.
I remember it's always something, but if I were them, I'd want to be facing Montclair again and have another upset.
Jake?
I'm going to have to go with the game against Kane. I think Kane is, well, obviously it's their next game, so that's the most important. But Kane has struggled against the run this year as well. They've had 666 rushing yards given up. And Willie P likes to run the ball, as we see in their offense. They barely pass the ball, and that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to run the ball down their throats.
Now, Jake, we'll keep things with you. The Pioneers obviously need to always take things one day at a time, but what do they need to improve on, basically focus on for the rest of the season? Any key points they need to look at?
Greg Lasardi's offensive line is going to have to step it up if they want to do anything on offense, because that's clearly been the struggle, as we saw with the intercepted handoff. Like, you can't let somebody get in your backfield that quickly, and it's going to help them improve.
Joe?
At this point, they need to come out with effort. It was 21-0 before we even got the broadcast on at Brave New Radio. It was within 5 minutes of the game. 49-0 at halftime. That's just a lack of effort at that point. That's not even a lack of talent. So if the Pioneers want to get anything going this season, they're going to have to step it up at practice.
Going off of Jake and Joe, the main problem with William Paterson is that their turnovers are on their side of the field. So that really gives no room for the defense to work with, and you can have two plays, they're already in the end zone.
For me, to kind of go off what he said, it's critical mistakes. They've had countless critical mistakes throughout the season that have put themselves in poor positions to succeed. No matter the effort of the roster, no matter the talent of the roster, when you put yourself in such a big hole, it's hard to recover. The Rowan game was a punt for negative yardage, a blocked punt, and a punt return for a touchdown. That's 21 points off of critical mistakes that they already have scored against them. And then against Wesley, we saw on the highlight, it was 21 points in 5 minutes. It's those critical mistakes.
To update us on the rest of our Pioneers, we go to our correspondent, Philip Dimitrovsky.
The men's soccer team found themselves in a thriller against Ramapo with a double overtime win, now bringing the Pioneers to an impressive 8-2 record. Just 4 minutes into the second overtime period, sophomore Kyle Adams netted his second goal and, more importantly, the late game winner. Junior Charlie Lizardo and sophomore Cameron Allen each had a goal to their name, and freshman Christopher Fuentes also had a pair of assists. The now 5-4 women's soccer team locks in yet another blowout victory this season on Wednesday, winning 4-0 against conference rival Ramapo. Sophomore Marissa Adelman was responsible for 2 of the Pioneers' goals, as well as an assist. Senior Diana Perez put a spectacular header in the back of the net and tallied an assist as well. Both the men and women's teams look to play New Jersey City University on Saturday.
Thanks, Philip. Things are going pretty well for our Pioneer soccer teams. Hopefully things pick up a little more for our Pioneer football team. Still plenty of time left for all sports at William Paterson. That's all for this week in William Paterson Sports, but don't go anywhere because the return of baseball is up next.